Approximately 29,000 units of blood are needed every day in the United States. Some of this need is disaster or injury related, but most of it comes from people like cancer patients or people with other such disorders. Only 3% of the eligible population donates every year, leading to a huge shortage of blood, which forces some people to have to wait for a blood transplant. In this speech, I'll summarize the need for donors, some of the eligibility requirements to donate, the donation process itself, possible side effects, and my own experiences donating. The shortage of blood is a major problem in the health industry. Blood itself has a low shelf life of only 42 days and sometimes needs to be used even sooner. This leads to the supply needing to be constantly replenished. According to a health website, every 2 seconds of every day someone needs blood. Adding to this is the general shortage of donors, with 37% of the population being eligible to donate, yet only 5% of that number do. Next is some of the eligibility requirements. The more basic ones are needing to be healthy, feeling good that day. You must be at least 17 years old and weigh at least 110 pounds. They will also check your iron concentration before you donate to make sure you truly are healthy and don't have any underlying conditions. The biggest part of the eligibility requirements is making sure you don't have any blood-borne pathogen like malaria or are on any medications that would thin your blood and cause patients that use your blood to have an adverse effect to it. They will ask you several questions about traveling places where you could have contracted malaria and also several other situations where you could have contracted a blood-borne disease without knowing it. To show you how easy it is to donate, I'll now describe the donation process itself. And it sounds complicated, but it really is very simple. It does not take that long. First is signing up online, which can be done through the organizations you're donating through's website. And usually only takes a few minutes to pick a time and place where you donate so you can make it most convenient for you. Next, once you actually arrive in the donation center, you'll be given a few forms to fill out. The first of which is a form basically stating that you understand that donating blood can have some side effects and that you don't know where your blood will be used. The next part of this is making sure you meet all the eligibility requirements I just talked about. Not having any blood-borne illnesses, not being on any medication that could adversely affect the patient receiving blood, and things of that nature. After this, the nurse checks your iron level by pricking your finger, and then you recline on a chair to actually start the donation process. A nurse sticks a needle in your arm, and this is the most physically uncomfortable part of the process, but it only lasts a few seconds, and then you're donating blood. The whole donation process only takes a few minutes, and then you are sent to a recovery area to rest for 15 minutes with water and snacks. Next, I'll talk about some of the possible side effects of donating. The biggest one is lightheadedness, which I myself have experienced, but there is also dizziness, nausea, and in some rare cases, fainting. You may also develop a bump or a bruise on the area where the blood was taken. These side effects are all very minor and can usually be prevented by making sure you've eaten enough that day and are drinking enough water. Lastly, I'll talk about my own experiences donating blood. I've donated blood 4 times up to this point in my life and plan to continue doing so. I truly do feel a personal responsibility to donate since I am eligible and that there's such a great need for blood. I encourage you all to donate, but I also encourage everyone to inform others about the need for blood, as it is a domino effect. If each of us here donates and then we convince a few others to donate, soon the shortage will be much less and we would be able to save lives across the country.